Hey guys, just before the video begins, I want to say that I am now on Cameo, a special video app. You can pay $20 and have me send you a shout out or a DM. Seems like it'll be loads of fun and I cannot wait to connect with you guys. Anyways, my next convention appearance will be at Kineticon in Hartford. Can't wait. Now on with the video.
It has two daddies. You call that fine? It may be fine on the outside, but inside it's confused and embarrassed. Two daddies, two daddies. Come on, class, let's rip on the freak egg.
75,000? Damn. 75,000 subscribers. Holla. 75,000! If my YouTube channel was a person and divided by 10,000, it would be as old as Billy Crystal or Carl Weathers. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park, or more specifically, Herbert Garrison, better known as Mr. Garrison, or Herb. So, wow. Once again, 75,000. That's quite a milestone. And it's also June. Time to kill two birds with one eggplant. One of the most polarizing parts about South Park is its take on the LGBTQIA community. And no character is more polarizing than Herbert Garrison, aka Herb. Oh, cute, he's got a nickname. Now, I'll be honest, and this might be a weird statement, but I feel like South Park usually has pretty good LGBT rep. It's just they have a little trouble with the T part, or at least explaining their feelings outside of jokes. Anyhow, when it comes to every other letter, they're pretty good about it. Big Gay Al, Mr. Slave, despite being stereotypes, are some of the smartest characters in the town, even if we don't really see or hear from them that often. Come on, Mr. Slave draws the line at certain ideas, like little girls following in his lead. The only thing I will criticize Al for is his take on the Supreme Court. I don't know, it's weird. I do think it was pretty noble he went his own way. It just felt like he was saying it's okay to be a bigot because freedom is a two-way street. Good to stall progress, especially since his replacement wanted to take pictures of the boys in illegal positions. Yay! Anyhow, while Garrison himself might be a little contentious for a variety of reasons, I do think that he has a pretty good arc of self-discovery, especially in the earlier seasons, when the show only had the barest semblance of any kind of continuity. It's weirdly sweet for somebody like him, so let's discuss. At the start of the series, Mr. Garrison is the boys' third grade teacher. While he's not a parent, he is a pretty major character nonetheless. This was proven in episode 2, Weight Gain 4000, when he tried to murder Kathy Lee Gifford, simply because she bested him at the talent show when they were children.
Have you forgotten about all the pain and suffering that Kathy Lee Gifford caused you? Mr. Head, that was a long time ago, and I was only a child.
Come on, if he really wanted to get revenge, he should have gotten her fired from that show she did with Regis. The thing is, Garrison is usually a terrible teacher. Oftentimes, his lesson plans are basically a wiki page on whatever show he watched the night before.
Shalagadula Mechikabula equals X. Put them together and what have you got? Boody bobby boo. X plus Y equals Y. X equals 0. The song is badly written.
In the first couple of episodes, Garrison was a notorious womanizer who happened to be gay. But he was the type of guy who did not want to admit his feelings to himself or society and ended up trying to put on the image of a woman-hating playboy. Kinda like Bulldog from Frasier. Just saying, I would not be surprised. Unlike Bulldog, Garrison's act is much easier to see through, to the point where even Chef calls him out on it.
Come over here if you're scared, women. I'll protect you. Not you, damn it. Children, there's a big difference between gay people and Mr. Garrison. Do you understand that?
He's Mr. Cellophane. That should have been his name, not Mr. Garrison. No, I've always kind of wondered what got Garrison to make the jump from women to men. And weirdly, I think it started with the episode Tom's Rhinoplasty. Garrison takes some time off of work to get a nose job. Of course, as we know from Jennifer Grey, child of Joel Grey, who was also the wizard in Wicked, nose jobs fundamentally change you as a person, not just nasally, but facially. Because this is what Garrison now looks like.
Wow, that's a pretty good nose job.
Yes, I think once the swelling goes down, you'll really notice a difference.
Wow, he looks like a lifeguard. Or like he loves cheeseburgers. Or that he's friends with SpongeBob and Patrick. Garrison's life turns around faster than an average day on Jupiter, and he begins to become a chick magnet.
What?
It's strange, but suddenly I feel really confident about myself, and I've decided to quit teaching and do what I've always dreamed of doing. Hang out and screw hot chicks.
At first, it's like a dream come true, but he never learned that you need to be careful what you wish for. Even Eminem had a song about that.
Damn this beautiful face of mine! Damn it to hell! We have to get the surgery again, Mr. Hat. I want to be the old me again.
For me, I think this episode was when Garrison started to look deep inside himself, wrong terminology, and realized he was gay, or realized how hard it was to keep up the charade. After all, he was so overwhelmed that he went back to teaching. The reason I bring this up is after this episode, we got a whole slew of Garrison episodes, primarily focused on his journey of self-discovery. In Worldwide Recorder Concert, South Park Elementary is joining the titular festival. As part of a celebration of the millennium, a bunch of third graders will gather in Oklahoma City and try to make a world record by playing their recorders.
Now come on, there's gonna be over 4 million third graders from all over the country there, and I want to make sure that South Park is the best.
The recorder, aka Satan's wiener. Why did we have to learn to play that? It's so useless. Isn't it better to learn how to play the piano, especially if you want to get into music? Because pianos actually teach you about how to read sheet music. Unfortunately, the event is getting moved to Arkansas, aka the place Garrison grew up. And it's a place he hasn't returned to in 23 years. He hasn't been there for as long as I've been alive. Worse yet, his father still lives there.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
I understand the feeling. There's nothing fun to do in Arkansas except take protest photos outside the Duggar house. Besides that, I've looked into it. It's next to impossible to get a flight to Hot Springs without those connecting flights. Garrison doesn't want to go, but Mackie suggests that before the concert, he should go and confront his father. That way, he'll be able to deal with whatever psychological trauma that's persisted.
Mr. Garrison, I think when we get to Arkansas, you need to see your father. You need to face this demon in your closet.
Now, until Garrison gets to his childhood home, they play it up like his father did something really, really bad to him. Let's say he touched him. It's so bad that Garrison even makes a split personality in the form of Mr. Hat simply to cope.
Why would he want to talk to a second-rate dopey psychologist?
What did you say?
Oh, Mr. Mackey and Mr. Hat are fighting.
Okay, maybe Mr. Twig's not that big of a stretch. Eventually, Garrison gets there, and we learn that his daddy is actually a perfectly nice man and a mechanic. As it turns out, Garrison's father never touched him in an illegal, evil manner, and that's precisely the problem. To Garrison, it means that his father does not love him. He loves the scum on his shoe more than his own son.
No! Sure, you could go off and screw in the street, but when it came to your own son, you were just too busy.
You have no idea how much I laughed when I first saw this episode like 4 years ago. It's so subversive, I just love it. Prime Garrison. In fact, this is one of the few episodes where I actually prefer the subplot to the actual episode. I never really do that with South Park. To make it funnier, even Garrison's mama kind of agrees with him that his father treating him like a son is some kind of abuse.
Your father loved you, often.
He never did, Mom, and I think you knew he never did.
No, if I knew, I would have made him do it.
Wait, so she did weird stuff to him? Why don't we ever hear from her? This would be an awesome follow-up episode. Mackie goes to speak to Garrison's father and says that he must do what his heart tells him he shouldn't. Just get it over with. Stop being a baby. It's the only way to save his son's fragile mental state outside of 15 years of full-time therapy.
Guess maybe I won't even wear those boxers.
I'm not going to ask you.
You don't love me!
Garrison's father doesn't want to do it. Instead, using the cover of night, he hires Kenny G.
Oh, goodness gracious!
And the sweetest noise around, that beautiful sound. Garrison feels refreshed and goes to the concert, smiling from ear to ear, thinking his daddy finally loves him.
Dad, I don't know what to say. I feel closer to you than I ever have.
Well, I just hope that now we can put the past behind us and try to be a normal family again.
Then comes Cartman joins Nambla, which, if I'm being honest, the video basically starts here. The previous entries were just prequels, in a sense. Important prequels, but prequels nonetheless. Season 4 is an important time for Garrison, as he begins the process of coming out of not just his shell, but his closet. Hey, maybe it's a walk-in closet, maybe Tom Cruise is in there. Come on, walk-in closets are awesome. Sometimes you can fit a bed in there. Cartman is concerned that he's so mature that he's outgrown his friends. To prove it, he decides to join a chat room full of other mature people. Unbeknownst to Cartman, because of how he's phrasing his responses, the chat roomers, I guess you could say, think he's asking for you-know-what.
So what are you into? Oh, you know, the usual stuff. Smiley face. Cool, wanna get together, smiley face?
Eventually, he meets a user he thinks he can befriend that won't be arrested by the FBI, Mr. Hammerhead. What? He goes down to the docks to meet with him, only to learn that he's not a stranger, but rather Garrison.
Mr. Garrison?
Ha! Eric!
You wanna be my friend?
Oh, crap!
That's cool, we can hang out. What do you wanna do first?
Nothing!
Okay, time for some background. A few weeks ago, I made a joke that I thought Garrison would not hurt a child, considering his reaction to seeing that photo of Cartman and Butters. But many of you were quick to point out this episode existed. The reason I said that was I did not see it that way. For one, they don't really follow up with Garrison's quote-unquote attraction to kids, just his attraction to men. Second, I thought the point of Garrison meeting with Cartman was an accident on both of their parts. As far as Garrison knew, he was meeting with a younger guy, likely 20s or 30s, not a literal child. Hey, 20s, 30s, Garrison's 41? A little icky, but not illegal. Plus, when you factor in other episodes, I guess you could say he learned from his mistake. Butters' very own episode shows that he knows his way around a bathhouse.
Hello? Anybody in here? Mr. Garrison?
Who is that?
Come on, just because he got arrested does not mean he wouldn't want to continue trying new things. This time at least, he would just do those things more discreetly and safely. I wonder if one of those things was Steve and Chris. Later, he tries to plead his case to Barb Brady, which Barb Brady refuses to hear.
This is all a terrible mistake, Officer Barbrady. Well, the FBI said I have to hold you here, so that's what I'm gonna do, Mr. Complainy Pants.
When the actual Nambla shows up to free him, and one of Cartman's internet friends, he's actually ashamed to be lumped in with them. Listen to this.
I did not want love from a young boy. I like men my own age. I like women. What did I say? Oh, God.
Granted, there is one joke near the end.
Oh, crap. We've got the wrong Nambla. Oh, damn it. I'm in the wrong place.
Again, maybe he was confused and thought Nambla was some kind of secret club for closeted men, not a bunch of pervs. This was a time when people still thought that gay meant perv, which it does not. I could buy that for why they never followed up on it, but hey, this is just how I justify it. Still, this episode leads into a multi-part storyline for Garrison. After the fallout from Nambla, Garrison is told to take an extended leave of absence from teaching. The new teacher will be some weirdo substitute named Mr. Weiland.
Mr. Garrison is away today. I am your substitute teacher, Mr. Weiland.
Really? What happened to him? He just showed up one day and then he was gone. Well, the school board is right that Garrison is a lousy teacher.
Did you know that not one of your students knew who Sam Adams was?
Well, who cares about a guy that makes beer? Jesus Christ, I'm trying to teach history.
This whole conference is mostly in relation to him getting arrested.
Then it isn't even your educational record that we're most concerned about. It's your somewhat substantial police record.
Oh, whatever.
Ugh, that's the worst part of teaching. Not only are you usually underpaid and underrespected, but you are held to a higher standard than everybody else. Garrison isn't ready to take some time off.
Gentlemen, teaching is all I know. It is the air that I breathe.
Okay, part of me thinks that this whole storyline isn't just Garrison coming to terms with himself. It's kind of like he's going through a midlife crisis, and I am all for it. He goes to a therapy session with Mr. Mackey, which is weird considering how he and Mackey border on friends. Aren't there rules against stuff like that? Anyhow, Garrison doesn't know what to do, and Mackey suggests he could use his paid leave to do something that he's always wanted but never could. In this case, write a novel. But what to write about? What about writing about doing it? With Mackey's encouragement, Garrison decides to write a romance novel called 50 Shades of Grey. No, he doesn't. It's too early. But he does write about a word that rhymes with gray and starts with the letter G. Speaking of, do you remember that Rick and Morty episode where Rick puts his consciousness in the body of a younger clone, but the clone's personality takes over to the point where the only way the original Rick can communicate with the outside world is through Tiny Rick's expressions of art? Wow, that was a lot. Well, it seems like Garrison might be going through something similar. He starts writing, and it seems like every time he mentions a part of male anatomy or describes it in vivid detail, he gets $1. Because just based on that manuscript alone, he should be making approximately $6,083.
Oh, writer's block. Crap! I'm stuck. Oh well, maybe that's enough writing for tonight, Mr. Hat.
Maybe I should write a book. Garrison persists and eventually submits his novel to Harlequin Romance. Well, they don't call it that, but it's basically that.
Mr. Garrison, I would like to thank you for choosing Harlequin Romance.
The publisher doesn't think the novel is appropriate enough for the publishing company. Garrison thinks differently.
Well, women want to read about ding-dongs. You think women care about the details of female anatomy? Hell no!
I am a woman, and I'm not gonna comment. Winky face emoji. Eventually, the publisher relents, and his book is a bestseller.
Boys, I have an announcement to make. I'm not gonna be your teacher anymore. I've become a best-selling author.
Finally, Garrison discovers there's more to his life than teaching. He can support himself. He can be like Arnold Lobel, right? That's how you say it. And use writing to work through his mental state. Sounds like his life is going good, right? Sounds like he should run for president, right? Well, not exactly. A few episodes later, starting in 4th grade, the kids move up a grade to the classroom they inhabit to this day. The 4th grade. Just saying, if you couldn't guess by the title. Maybe you were confused. Their new teacher is Diane, I still can't say her name, Sarles. Unlike Garrison, Diane is too much of a pushover, and they walk all over her.
You'll never get what you want. You'll always let people step all over you. You're just like stairs.
Exactly. Not helping is how she often uses empty threats to try and keep them in line.
Now get back to your desk and write a 1,000-word essay on why you feel you need to disrupt my class.
Fantastic, then.
No, Diane, don't be Garrison. The FBI was all over him like flies on pie. Needing help, Diane goes to Principal Victoria and Chef to find out how Garrison was able to deal with the children, only to find she can't exactly speak to Garrison because he's not there anymore. He's alive, he's just not at the school.
Why? Where did he go?
We don't like to talk about it.
But I need help reaching these kids. I have nothing but the highest expectations for them.
Still, she persists and finds that after Cherokee hair tampons, Garrison's novel was not only successful, it won a Pulitzer Prize for breaking down colorful barriers. Some even said it was better in terms of subtext than Huckleberry Finn. Oh, I gotta read that book. Garrison eventually went full Britney and escaped to the mountains, living as a shut-in exile with no one but Mr. Hat for company.
Some say that on cold nights you can still hear him moaning, "I'm not gay."
Garrison. How do I describe Garrison? He's the dove that sings outside my window. He's the twin from whom I'm separated, despite our massive age gaps. He's the horse I never got for Christmas. On the bright side, he handles mental breakdowns much better than I do. At least he didn't cut his hair like I did. Undeterred, Diane decides to climb every mountain until she finds Garrison. And she finds that he grew a beard and probably hasn't showered in a whopping 8 months. Ew. Unfortunately, Garrison does not want to help Diane, but $200 speaks pretty loudly, so he decides to take her on. Ooh, I wonder if she'll learn the 5-point exploding heart technique. Honestly, if I ever do end up becoming an educator, Garrison's teaching style is kind of how I want to conduct myself. Because while going to school for teaching tells you how to impart the info, they don't teach you how to deal with kids who misbehave or whatnot. You have to learn all of that on the job. Garrison tells Diane that the only way to deal with kids is to essentially call their bluff.
No? Look, you can't counter a profane command with an idle threat. You must extinguish it with a vulgar suggestion.
Which, speaking from experience, part of me thinks will backfire, but I get what he's saying. Nobody's gonna listen to you if you keep making idle threats, because they know there's no weight behind it. Oh, you're gonna yell at me some more? And what, not give me detention? That's all you've been doing, yell away, you're just wasting time. I had teachers like that when I was in elementary school. Too bad I was an anxious little crybaby, but I did get good at zoning out whenever they would yell. Garrison tells Diane to go into a tree, the butt of a tree. That's clever. Everything there will be revealed, only it is quite psychological. Woo! At the Tree of Insight, oh yeah, that's the name of the tree I forgot to mention, Diane must confront herself and face what's inside, and it's nothing.
Wait a minute. Maybe there's not supposed to be anything in here. Maybe I'm supposed to see that I alone do have the strength to reach the kids.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he really meant. Garrison decides to go in by himself, and unlike Diane, he finds somebody waiting for him. The part of him that he represses, who is actually pretty put together compared to him.
My gay side? I don't have a gay side! You must face me at last.
Garrison's other half says that he must admit to his feelings and stop hiding. Eventually, Garrison accepts, and this happens.
You hear that, everyone? I'm gay! I'm gay and it feels good.
Aww, that's actually kind of sweet. Too bad it's ruined by the ending. Garrison finally overcomes his demons and goes back to school, admitting to the school staff that he's comfortable with who he is, only to find he can't go back to teaching just yet. Clearly, they take after the Boy Scouts.
Sorry, we don't hire gay people.
Ooh, somebody is itching to get on Wheel of Fortune. Still, they do find a use for Garrison at South Park Elementary as a teacher. A kindergarten teacher, which feels weird. Just saying, wasn't he arrested for trying to be with young boys? As far as the cops knew, at least Cartman and co. are old enough to call for help or know the signs or at least defend themselves. Regardless, with every new job is a new opportunity. And Garrison decides to take the job.
Ike Broflovsky. Broflovsky, I had your older brother Kyle in my 3rd grade class. He's a very smart kid. I'm sure you are too.
Did Kyle read 2 John Steinbeck books in one day? No. Did Kyle reenact an episode of John Steinbeck using internet? No. Then cállate la boca. As part of their first assignment, Garrison wants to do an election for class president.
Oh, come on, you can't have an election with just one person running. What's the fun in that?
Wait, when did this episode come out? November 15th, 2000? Wait a second, what happened in the 4th quarter of 2000? Oh god, I'm old. I was a year old when this episode came out. As part of the election, Ike and Fillmore are running against each other. There is a tie, and the tiebreaker is a girl named Flora?
Let's see. Flora, I can't tell who you voted for. You've got the winning vote, Flora. Who'd you pick?
I don't know.
Wait, what day is it? I have Applebee's in the fridge. Would it still be good? Eventually, Flora, the undecided voter, decides.
I decided.
Oh, thank God, Flora.
You know, I'm kind of surprised they did not vote the old paper style, or that whenever somebody voted for, say, Ike, they were actually voting for some weird third-party candidate, like they didn't understand it or something. Just saying, it would help the metaphor. Eventually, Flora decides to vote for Ike Broflovsky. Unfortunately, Gilmore utters the worst phrase imaginable.
We want a recount.
What?
Recount!
Garrison counts up the votes over 100 times, and as expected, Ike keeps winning every single time. Too bad one kid stayed home from school the day of the election. To get to the bottom of the situation, he comes in all the way from the hospital in order to cast the deciding vote.
Thank you very much, Billy. Don't forget to pick up your lung. All right, the absent kid's ballot is for Fillmore.
God, now it's a tie. Good thing Fillmore has a rich, influential aunt named Rosie. Rosie O'Donnell, to be precise, the Queen of Nice. And per Mr. Garrison...
Oh my God, what is that thing? Children, there's some huge bulbous monstrosity heading for the classroom!
Was Rosie O'Donnell really that bad? I only know about her from Wikipedia, but I will say that I am a little disappointed that the crew did not do that much with her. She doesn't try to round up more celebrities, she doesn't take to the news, she just shows up for like 2 seconds, also Garrison can rant at her.
People like you preach tolerance and open-mindedness all the time, but when it comes to middle America, you think we're all evil and stupid country yokels? Well, just because you're on TV doesn't mean you know crap about the government!
No comment. Just no comment. Which sucks because considering a lot of political events nowadays, I feel like the episode could have made a good point about how celebrities, for better or for worse, influence politics. It just felt like they had no extra time to do it. Off topic once again, but for me, I think the biggest problem with the subplot is how they did the episode way too early. Bush versus Gore, which eventually decided the 2000 election and is super controversial, took place in December, and this episode came out in November, a whole month before. Granted, I think they learned their lesson. At least with, say, Terry Schiavo, they waited until the case was essentially decided in order to make fun of it. In fact, that episode aired the night she died. Wait, I'm verging too far off course. Crap. Okay, both sides of the classroom gather lawyers in order to decide this uber important case. And a special somebody who's not Rosie O'Donnell shows up.
Is this a kindergarten classroom? I believe the African American students in your class were misrepresented.
Oh no, he's gonna make somebody apologize. How is this gonna—
I concede.
You what?
I don't want to play anymore because this game is stupid.
Dude, seriously? No. You wanted to be class president so bad, you do it. You called your Aunt Rosie, you hired lawyers, you must see this thing to the end. Even go up to the Supreme Court if you have to. But no, the episode's almost over and Garrison decides that, okay, Ike will now be the class president.
Yes, let's finger paint!
Yay, now they can finger paint. Strangely, Garrison's journey of self-discovery continues in the episode The Entity, where we find out that he can be pretty resourceful if he puts his mind to it. Garrison is trying to get to a special convention in Cheyenne. Unfortunately, he has to get through airport security and finds that they are a massive hindrance to his efforts.
Excuse me, there's 2 other security checkpoints. Why can't you open those too?
I don't know nothing.
Hey, at least he didn't have to put up with the Toilet Safety Administration. But OMG, I'm going to Vegas this fall for a convention, and I haven't flown since I was 7 years old. Along with losing my luggage, this is one of my biggest fears. In the episode, feels like it's just Matt and Trey ranting through Garrison, which it seems like they're keen to do, considering Trapper Keeper.
Well, you know, I seem to remember when the airline said, we need a $15 billion bailout. out from the taxpayers, and they fired their employees anyway. So now we have 3 people to clear 400 passengers.
Are airplanes really that bad? Garrison begins to tire of the airports and tries to find a way to get around them. This time by creating a device to make them obsolete. Watching Enrique Iglesias perform, Garrison gets the idea to invent it, not the killer clown. That's just what he names the device. It is a device that enables you to travel at breakneck speeds without having to go through an airplane. The thing is, much like his novel, Garrison has a nasty habit of letting his predilection show, because the it thing straps you in a certain way and it looks kind of weird.
It seems all the buttons on these front and rear flexi grips are also found on the side of the vehicle, so they don't really do anything. Right.
And that's all I will say. However, people would rather do that than take airplanes, and it is a success.
How is it? Well, it beats dealing with the airline companies, that's for sure.
Idiots. Of course I'd take a plane instead of it. Think about it. Everybody has it, and nobody is using airplanes. Tickets would be so cheap, and it would be so much more spacious. It becomes so popular that it gets the attention of plenty of famous people who want to invest, including Kyle's cousin Kyle.
I'm back.
And Yasmin Bleeth.
Who was that? Garrison gets rich off of the it, only there's a little problem. The airline companies lobbied through support, probably through the method presented in Margaritaville, and they are able to put it out of business.
Excuse me, what the hell are you doing?
It's all right, we're with the government. We're just shutting you down.
No, now it's gonna turn into a giant queen spider and refuse to change the holy doctrine of Vatican law. You know, I didn't want to mention it, but I feel like Here Comes the Neighborhood is another episode where Garrison tries to get rich by not teaching. As a result of Token's quest for friends, more rich people come pouring into South Park like 15 years too early. Along with the other men of the town, Garrison leads efforts to get them evicted, fearing that South Park will become too rich and price everybody out.
You guys know why richers have such big garages? Because they need a place for all their Porsches and boats and aircraft carriers.
Also, I think I've said this before, but I love how everybody acts racist while not being racist at the same time. It's kind of like the casino episode. I don't know, it's weird, but I think they help themselves by showing how the rich people follow this exact same mindset.
Time to leave?
T is for time to leave, Cash Chucker.
Eventually, they are able to make them leave by making them think the town is haunted because rich people who are not Sarah Winchester hate haunted stuff.
Tell me this town was haunted?
I didn't know! I didn't know!
It reminds them of the people their ancestors scammed. Woo, ancient sins. Eventually, Garrison reveals his true colors. They are rainbow and also green.
And now we can sell all their homes and become millionaires. Well, yeah, but at least I got rid of all those damn
No. You don't use that word. You use it, and I go get Jesse Jackson. Wait, that might be something you like. You know what? I will go get the boys. These boys right here. Still, some crazy stuff happens in season 6. Diane starts a relationship with Mr. Mackey. Unfortunately, both of them are as inexperienced when it comes to matters of the body as Beavis and Butthead. If Beavis and Butthead were Catholic schoolgirls. Oh, that's a good episode. The pair start to fool around together behind closed doors, and finally, Diane dies. Not from drinking coffee mixed with brine shrimp, but from choking on man meat, likely due to her lack of experience.
Really hard with the death of your teacher.
Oh, that's why her name is that name. Ugh, if only she used protection like she told the girls. Luckily, her death opens up a position of 4th grade teacher, and Garrison accepts, starting with the episode, The Death Camp of Tolerance. To make it up to Garrison for essentially discriminating against him, Principal Victoria gives him the position of 4th grade teacher. Essentially, he would have his old job with the same children, just 1 grade higher. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, she lets it drop, and while she did technically discriminate against Garrison, it was a different time.
Next time, you'd be able to sue the school district for lots of money.
How much money exactly?
Oh, well, there was the case out of Minnesota where the guy was awarded $25 million, I think.
You don't say.
Did you really have to say that? Seriously. Now Garrison's gonna try and get that money however he can. Come on, there's no Costco in sight. He can't just go to the bathroom and slip on pee-pee and get a $53,000 settlement. To try and get the money, Garrison attempts to make himself look like a perv. That way, once the children complain to their parents, the school can fire him and he can sue for discrimination. And he can't do it alone. He has replaced Mr. Hat.
I was informed that 4th graders are a little too old for Mr. Hat.
2-year-olds are too old for Mr. Hat.
Didn't Satan also take Mr. Hat with him to hell? Maybe he's just on vacation. Instead, Garrison has hired a new lackey, Mr. Slave.
Say hello to Mr. Slave.
Hi, kids.
So that's Mr. Slave, the teacher's assistant.
Which I think it's very important to bring this up. At the beginning of this video, Garrison was uncomfortable just telling people he liked men. And now he's dating one. Well, honestly, it's more of a physical relationship. It doesn't make it any less important. They're living together. It's massive progress all around. Garrison's efforts are all for naught because instead of complaining to Victoria, the parents try to educate their children. Chef tries to say something and he gets sent to a tolerance seminar.
I just wanted to give you an opportunity to apologize to Mr. Garrison before I sent you away, Chef.
Kiss my black.
Which is a step above tolerance camp, but probably also sucks a bunch as well. Like Garrison! Garrison gets so noticed that the Tolerance Museum wants to give him an award. At the gala, his efforts to be noticed get nowhere.
I'm trying to get fired here! Oh, that's courageous.
Until he spells out to the audience the difference between tolerance and acceptance.
Look, just because you have to tolerate something doesn't mean you have to approve of it. If you had to like it, it'd be called the Museum of Acceptance.
Sadly, it works a little too well, because while the kids are freed from the tolerance camp, Garrison has to go in their place.
Sorry, Mr. Garrison, but it's obvious you aren't tolerant of your own behavior.
What do we have here, new recruits? I assure you the next week will be nothing but pain and suffering.
Weren't LGBT people one of the groups that were persecuted and sent to camps during World War II? Fun fact, apparently that's why Frankenfurter has that pink triangle on his scrubs in Rocky Horror. I don't know if it's ironic or clever on the crew's part, or if, hey, they even intended that, but kudos. Still, Garrison's quote-unquote romance with Mr. Slave would eventually come to a sorry end. After transitioning, Garrison tries to go see Mr. Slave and test out her new Let-It parts.
Mr. Slave, I got something for us, too. Would you like to take this beautiful woman to bed?
Better be sure Richard Dawkins knows what he's signing up for. Unfortunately, Mr. Slave doesn't want to partake. And worse yet, he breaks up with Janet.
Don't you even care that I was suffering? I wasn't happy the way I was.
It's great that you feel better, but you never stop to think about how the people around you would feel.
Which actually kind of makes Janet sympathetic, I hate to say, and much more than Ida Davis. I wish they focused in more on that, rather than Gerald becoming a dolphin, because then I would actually like the episode. Sadly, this move undoes much of Garrison's development, and drives him back into hating gay people. This time, it's limited to the men, not the women. And follow that egg, Janet does one of those health class things where you carry around an egg and make sure you don't smash it in order to teach you the hardships of being a parent.
If you break your egg, it means you have a dead baby. And if you kill your baby, you get an F.
Did you guys ever have to do that? Us inner city folk never learned how. Garrison sees the happy new couple she forced to be together and begins to remember the happiness she felt with Mr. Slave. Oh, maybe that's why. She expresses her frustrations through song. Yep, still not allowed to play it. She goes back to talk to Mr. Slave and try to win him over, only to find he found a new pair of arms, those belonging to Big Gay Al.
Al and I have been living together for a few months.
Well, that didn't take you long, did it?
Slave, should I leave you two alone?
Yes.
Slave and Al have decided to get married, as Colorado is about to pass a bill that legalizes marriages of all kinds.
Mr. Slave, I am legally a woman now. If you want to get married, you have to marry me.
Oh, that's not true.
Jealousy rears its ugly head, and Janet reverts back to being the crazy Christian she was when it came to evolution. Just to show you how horrible she can be, know that even other closed-minded Christians, you know, the people who want to outlaw non-traditional marriages and sort of agree with her beliefs, actually despise her.
We need to round up 3 or 4 and beat the living hell out of them.
We don't hate her. We just don't want him to be able to marry.
The governor is unwilling to accept or veto the bill. He can't handle the pressure.
Why do I have to make this decision? Because you're the governor?
Worse yet, because gay people want the same rights as everybody else. OMG, I wonder why. He doesn't know what to do, and he can't compromise. Garrison brings up that if he approves the bill, couples will have the right to adoption. However, there has never been a formal study done which proves the effect non-traditional marriages have on kids.
I can't use that argument. There's never been a study done which proves that either way.
Even though there has, apparently? I don't know, I heard there's like no effect. Wanting an out, he agrees to use the results of the study as a basis for his decision. To this end, Garrison switches up the couples, having Stan and Kyle raise an egg, and Wendy and Bebe doing it too. Yeah, we don't really focus on Wendy and Bebe, it's not important. Much to Garrison's shock, nothing bad actually happens to the eggs. In fact, it's one of the straight couples, Cartman and Heidi, oh boy, that has their egg broken. Cartman probably broke it when he was waiting for Heidi to get ready.
I think you should still give Heidi an A on the project. You see, I broke the egg, not her.
Wait, Cartman, why are you being nice?
I should get an F, and she should get an A. Which means that together, the grade should average out to a C- for both of us.
Okay, now this makes more sense. Not wanting Slave and Al to marry, Garrison starts to fudge with the results of her non-biased study, in more ways than one.
Eric, you've never been anything but a problem for me. You're taking that egg, and if you break it again, I'll break both your legs and burn down your house. Do you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Wow, you managed to put some fear into Eric Cartman. Good for you, gal. Worse yet, she even hires a hitman to do Stan and Kyle's egg. No, not like that. Get your mind out of the gutter. Do apparently also means murder. The doer seems to succeed, but thankfully, Kyle fought ahead and switched the eggs.
Do you really think my hat is stupid? As a matter of fact, I think it is the nicest hat I've ever known.
As part of the final egg check, Garrison wants to do this in front of the governor's office, while also trying to keep Stan and Kyle from interfering. Unfortunately, the two persevere, and the governor signs the bill, allowing Al and Slave to finally marry. Sucks we never see Garrison's reaction, but hey, progress wins! Yay! And wow, her Garrison, lots to unpack. While thought of nothing but a scoundrel and a creep, he does have something of a character arc. Him learning to accept himself was very well done, and it paved the way for progress in later seasons. In fact, nowadays, he even has a new non-crazy boyfriend named Rick, and he seems to want to do right by him. Thanks for 75,000 subscribers, and happy June. Bye!
Boys, I'm really proud of you. You've done an amazing thing for gay marriage rights.
What did we do?
Oh, but Kitty, what about that time Garrison transition? You just glossed over it. Okay, you know what? Maybe it deserves its own video. June is still young.